Okay guys, this is gonna be the inaugural video. I don't even have my glasses on because they're just catching so much glare. I'm setting up the ring lights. I'm trying to learn the lighting. I'm trying to learn the sound. I have this little microphone here. Comment down below. Anything can help out. I'm only gonna go up from here. I'm only gonna upgrade my equipment and we'll go from here. But today is gonna be the video all about how therapy doesn't work, why it doesn't work. I am, if you don't know, this is from Zenobia Solutions, trained therapist. Have to make my message. I've been through the most insane life, but also the past couple years where things should have worked. Therapy should have worked. Being a therapist, I know how these things go. None of it was working, and I actually found a solution. And that's why I completely revamped everything, revamped how I thought about therapy, how I thought about diagnoses, how I thought about what marks we should be hitting when. Therapy isn't individual. It really isn't. I went to all the fancy East Coast schools. I did all the things. I worked in it forever. I worked in a bunch of different parts of it. I worked in industrial therapy. I worked in private practice. I worked in child therapy. I was actually going to be a psychiatrist, but after going through it and after seeing everything from the inside, I think I almost had to, I had to become the patient to learn what I'm about to tell you. We go through these different things. We hit them almost at the same points in life. The years might be a little bit off. The themes are the same. But the problem with therapy, the problem with the traditional therapy that we all talk about. And I just had a puppy walk in. You're probably going to hear puppies in the background. So they were watching Strange Angel before, if you've ever seen that show. But the thing is, therapy itself, the medical model, the insurance model is always cognitive behavioral therapy. Nothing wrong with it. I studied it. I spent so many years and tens of thousands of dollars learning it. And guess what? That's great if you want to spend years and years and years going over and talking about the same thing over and over again. That can re-trigger you, can cause more problems, can really lengthen out you getting to the solution. Because why do you go to therapy? Why do you go to therapy? And just if you see my eyes darting all over the place, I don't have my glasses on and I'm trying to look on the camera where to look. So again, down in the comments, if you want to help me out, tell me where to look. I'm learning all this brand new. I'm crappy at doing the videos, but I'm really, really, really good at helping you. So if we keep going over and over and over stuff that does not help us, it's going to lengthen how long it takes for us to get our solution. We go to therapy to get a solution. We go to therapy to get an answer. And a lot of times I will tell you, back when I went, which was back in the dark ages, but back when I went, it was let the client lead you, let the client kind of dictate the pace and the processing. But then I get out into private practice and I never once had a client say, I want this to take 2.5 years. That doesn't happen. I always say my phone doesn't ring unless it's the worst day of somebody's life or unless somebody's having a horrible time. And I was always the fixer. And then when I needed to be fixed, when I had my own situations going on, knowing all the answers, doing all the things, knowing the answers to the test, I couldn't find help anywhere. What I found was a broken system. I found a system that was, again, drag you through, make you wait, go through, take a long time, try this, try that. And the thing is, and what I have discovered, and I want to help you guys with this, absolutely. And I'm going to tell you all about it. But what I have discovered is you're going to go through these natural ebbs and flows anyway. It would have happened anyway, is kind of what I learned. It would have happened anyway. But once you know, and once we talk and I can take you through stuff, but once you know what it is, then you can take that pattern that you're going to go through anyway, and where it might have been a negative, it might have been where you went into a depression, or you went into an anxiety, or you had a divorce, or you had a bankruptcy, or you lost a job, or you had an illness. If, you and I can work out, everything's going to be individual. We can work out what pattern you're in not behavioral pattern. That's the thing. There's a cosmic pattern that we're all going through at different times, and you will hit it. We will determine your specific if I could talk, specific signature. We'll figure out your specific signature, what area you're in right now, and where you wouldn't be calling me if you were having a good time, where you're having a falling down or you're having an issue. We'll take that and we'll turn it into a positive. We'll turn it into where you could turn it into a growth, turn it into a breakthrough. And it won't take years. It won't take months. It won't take weeks. That's the thing. It's very, very, very rapid once you get on the frequency. These are all geocosmic things that we all go through them. I'm going to tell you right now, if you're watching me right now, if you're over a certain age, something major happened in your life between 28, 29, 30. Biggest thing ever. Your life changed. It did 180 degrees. Birth of a child, marriage, divorce, almost died, bought your first house, something humongous that changed the trajectory of your life. We all hit these certain points. And this is something that psychology does not account for. It literally takes you where you're at. I'm going to say cognitive behavioral therapy, DBT, dialectical behavioral therapy. It takes you where you're at, and it's like, okay, we're going to slowly chop through this. We're going to work through this, and we're going to talk about your past, which is, you don't want to talk about that anyway. You already know that happened. Why do you got to bring it up? So you analyze it, because you're not already analyzing it. You're not already running it through in your head a million times. Yes, you are. That's why you're here. That's why you're having problems. So I figured out, after going through the depths of hell myself as a therapist, I figured out the shortcuts. I figured out that the life hacks. I figured out the cheat code on the game that we're talking about. It's so I will get into it in another video, but if this sounds good to you, comment down below or get a hold of me. I will have my information. The website is Zenobia Solutions, so that's up. I was always a therapist under Zenobia Solutions, but everything has completely changed very recently. And therapy is not individual. I'm telling you, it's the modern therapy, and the therapists have to follow a record. They have to follow a certain thing so that the insurance will pay them. This is nothing like that. It's self-pay, by the way. But it's going to be a whole lot cheaper than therapy. You're going to get solutions on the first day. You're going to get answers on the first day. You're going to get a framework and a pathway to follow on the first day. You don't have to wait months and months or weeks and weeks. And the other thing is, there's not the huge, if you've ever been to therapy, there's not the go back and then go back a couple steps, go forward, go back a couple steps, go forward. And that kind of movement, that's completely erased. That is that I think wastes the most amount of time when people say, oh, I've been in therapy for 2.5 years. In my head, I'm like, why? And hopefully, we're talking for 2.5 years, but we're talking about different stuff, and we're getting you from point A to point B to point D to point G to point Z, and we're do. That's my goal. That's what I've done with a million other people. I was doing something like this before. I really, really, really have unlocked the key. I'm going to talk about it more in different videos, but comment down below things you want me to talk about. I was actually going to talk about anxiety. Anxiety is a big one, because anxiety is actually a grief response. Anxiety is where you've been rejected before, where you've been left alone before. That's what anxiety is. So I was going to talk about anxiety in one of these videos. The other thing I do want to tell you, I have in the videos, or on the website, we can do this one-on-one, which I suggest, because I can go over all of your different numbers. I can go over where you're at. I can tell you exactly where you're at and exactly what's going to happen next. That also takes a lot of the anxiety away. In therapy, it's like you just go, and you plot this course, but you don't know where the end is. I can actually tell you what's going to happen next. I can tell you the next step. So that takes the anxiety out of it, and it also gives you something to reach toward, instead of blindly going in the desert and having somebody kind of hold your hand a little bit. That always bugged me about therapy. I don't know about you, but that always bugged me, where it was like, okay, we'll talk about it next week. And then, so you're constantly on a cliffhanger. You're constantly at the end of the season waiting for the next season to get picked up by Netflix. But it's your life and you're living it. So we don't do that here. I don't do that. We're not doing that. I will never leave you on a cliffhanger. There will always be, here's what's going to happen next. Here's what we're working toward next. Here's the next goal. And it's going to be so rapid. You're going to go, God, this is so simple. Like, but Like I said, I had to go through hell to figure it out. The other thing is, if you do not want to talk, we don't have to talk. There can be absolutely no talking. I don't find a lot of merit in complaining. I don't find a lot of merit in going over the old stuff. So I do a ton of meditations. I do hypnosis. Not scary hypnosis. I'm not going to make you take your clothes off or cluck like a chicken, but just to get your brain working in the way you want it to go. I just did one to myself the other day for task paralysis, which is why I'm here making this video. I had a task paralysis where I was like, this has to be perfect. The lighting has to be perfect and my hair has to be perfect. And I'm in the middle of Invisalign right now. And I'm like, oh, my teeth need to be perfect. No, you don't. And then I realized nobody cares. Nobody cares. 3 people might see this. I don't know. So I did a thing on task paralysis. I did a self-hypnosis. I can teach you how to do that yourself. Teach you how to get through situations in the moment, not we have to make an appointment 2 weeks from now and then I help you. I can teach you how to do it in the moment. I did a thing on task paralysis and I was like, I'm going to throw the lights up. I'm just going to come how I am. It's real humid. I'm in the American South. My hair doesn't look great. My skin doesn't look great. I'm not wearing my glasses right now. I can barely see my little beige smudge on the camera. Who cares? I did task paralysis. I got through it. I'm here. I'm with you now. So little things like that can get you through the tiny stuff that is standing in your way, the tiny little behaviors that are messing with your head and get you to where you need to go. They're usually just tiny little behaviors. So we can do meditations. We can do hypnosis, self, or I can walk you through it, do custom hypnosis. You can record it, listen to it 1,000,000 times. The other thing is manifestations. Manifestations, if you are a manifester, you can take control of your health. You can take control of your future quicker than anything in the world. This is something that therapy does not talk about. If you're sitting there depressed and anxious in a doctor's office going over and over and over all the bad things that happen to you, and you do that for years at a time, what do you think is going to happen next? Do you think you're magically, like, everything is going to get better? No. You're telling the story over and over and over again of how I was hurt, how things are terrible, how things don't work. And then next week, guess what happens? You do the same thing. You do the same thing. And once in a while, you'll have a therapist that actually challenges you. Those are few and far between. But you'll have a therapist that challenges you. Mostly you won't. For reasons I won't get into. And I'm saying this as a therapist. I'm saying this, I have a master's degree in industrial organizational psychology with a concentration in consulting and counseling. Worked in that for years. Undergrad in art therapy and psychology. Worked in that for years. So I'm not saying this like lightly. I'm not saying this as like, I lived it. And it didn't work back then. And like I said, when I went through my mess, I figured out. I mean, I was in the pits of hell, which you might be. It's okay. There's an out. There's a light at the end of the tunnel. I found the escape. If we were in one of those crappy escape rooms that people rent out, if you like them, God bless you, but some people don't. If we were in one of those crappy escape rooms, I got the key. I got the guy at the front door told me the secret code. That's what I got. So we can move through this really quickly. I don't want you to have to sit for years and years and years like I did to have to figure it out. Let me be the only one. Let me be the only one in a therapeutic sense. Let me be the only one in a spiritual sense. Let me be the only one and help you to get to the other side quick as possible. And then you'll have these skills forever. You can use them in any situation. You can use them with a specific person. I just had a puppy walk. You can use them with a specific person. You can use them with money. You can use them with your health. You can use them for like anything you can imagine. And it'll be a whole process. And I want to do this with you. So if you do manifestation, you're already a step ahead of everybody else because you get the whole mental process of creating the future you, which is what we're going to be doing. We're not going to go into the past. We're not going to talk about it. If you want to talk about it, cool, we can. But I'm not going to waste your time talking about it. We're going to talk about where you want to go. We're going to get you there as fast as possible. So thank you for hanging in there and watching this whole thing. I'm going to probably do as many of these as I can. Again, I'm setting up, this is my first one. I have some from like 5 years ago. And I know a year ago I did an interview on a podcast. So you might see some of those up. But Help me, tell me about lighting, tell me about cameras. This is just on a phone. Tell me about microphones. I was going to get one of those little fuzzy ones that I always see on TikTok. One of those that might help. Tell me about any constructive criticism I have. If you are watching this, let me know. I need that help, and I can help you get all this done. Links to the website down below. Phone numbers down below. Text me. Don't call me, but because usually I'm on the phone. That's why I'm like, don't call me, because if you call me, it's going to go to a voicemail. It's going to get lost. If you text me, as soon as I get off the phone, I can text you right back. But this works. This helps. If you're in the manifesting community and you have anxiety, I got the solution for that too. So this is something I really, really, really feel strongly about. I'm building up my psychology practice based around all of this instead of what I was taught. I'm going against all those years and all that school because I lived it. I don't want anybody else to live what did not work. So thank you guys. Thank you for everything. Thank you for the first video. Maybe I'll wake up to 1 million views. Who knows? Talk to you soon.